So we still have one piece of vinyl we need to install, and that is the bezel piece. The plastic piece that's covering the monitor right now is going to be having this graphic applied over the top of it. Well, I'm not 100% certain how good it's gonna look. I mean, I think it'll look good, but we'll install it and see. I'm just gonna give it a good clean first. I just wanna make sure there's nothing hanging out on top of here that's gonna interfere. The graphic is also already cut, like it's not gonna have anything over the center portion. I actually designed it to be a little tiny bit smaller in the center than what's currently here. That should hide some of that distortion that we see from the HDMI adapter. This is what it looks like. Pretty cool, pretty simple. Nice. All right, so we got it. And now we have to figure out how to cut the screw holes, which this is kind of a new thing. So maybe I'll poke a hole through the back first on each one. And I think we're gonna wanna cut them from the front though. Nice. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screw holes. And these don't have to be perfect. This head of the screw will cover it up a little bit. We wanna do as good of a job as we can. This part's actually going pretty smooth. All right, there she is. So maybe I'm just hyper fixating on it. I feel like this corner looks a little bent in. I don't know if that's because of how I applied it or if it was printed like that or what. We still have a lot of holes we need to cut. You know what, with this one actually, I have a really good idea. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I can see right through. The DIY light table was a fantastic idea. So glad I thought of that. We have all the primary holes cut here. I'm just gonna do a little edge work and then we can call that good. So we've got all our ABC buttons in here. They came with some stickers on them. I don't love that. We're gonna peel them all off. That's stupid. And our SANWA joysticks will be arriving tomorrow at some point. So then we will put joysticks in this and start doing some of the wiring. So we will have to separate them into 2 groups, at least for the backlighting. All right, we have buttons and they look really good. And they feel good. We have 2 sets of these blue buttons. If you remember from an earlier video, these were the disappointment ones. I think this is the better looking one. It's not quite as white there. We're gonna go with this package. Take the smaller diameter buttons out. And we need 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are gonna be our start buttons. The crown jewel of the control deck. This single button was like $25. It's an all metal, full metal jacket here, right? It's heavy and it looks really cool. And it is a latching push button, which is the style we needed. Yeah, it looks fantastic right there. And this one came with a wiring harness too, which is pretty dope. And the last thing we're gonna do real quick here, I have a bunch of these little wires. These are for the black buttons, just to connect the LEDs. So we're just gonna stick them all in here for now. It feels really good even just on my legs. Just the feeling, the clicking of the buttons, it's so satisfying. So good. All right, look at that. These will be grouped together with these, and then these will all be grouped together even though they're on separate sides. That's how she's gonna look. We just have to figure out the cartridge slot collar situation thing, add the joysticks, and we will be in business. So this is what it would look like all put together. I wonder too if we should have made that a little bit shorter. And we have the bezel and the buttons just need joysticks. Very cool. All right, quick little update here. It is a rainy Wednesday, and I realized after thinking about it yesterday, I put this piece on upside down. So these slits are actually supposed to be at the bottom. I don't know why I didn't check that first. So I just got done cutting some similar slits on the bottom of this piece, and we're gonna go test it out and see if it fits a little bit better now. That is a much better fit. I suspected this piece was supposed to sit basically flush here. There is still a gap between this and the plastic piece, but it's just a smaller gap than I had imagined. So that's good, and we're gonna do a little bit of cutting on the plastic piece next. Also, we are currently printing the first version of the cartridge collar for the control panel. I mostly just wanna see if this one fits, and we will go from there. So we just completed a little second round of cutting here on the plastic. I just expanded out this area just a little bit, just so we have a little more clearance here for the part we're going to need to raise the Genesis board. We sanded down the backside of it a little bit too, just so we can apply a new appropriately sized spacer under there. Pretty much the only other thing I accomplished this morning is I cut out all these screw holes, and I knew that I had accidentally left one of the bolts out of one of the sides, and I had it set aside right over there, like where the drill is right now, and it's missing. So luckily Arcade1Up does send spare parts. I had this in a drawer from over 2 years ago, and boy did we need it, because they only sent one. So screw holes are cut. Alrighty, welcome back everyone. We got a few things we're going to talk about today, but I think I would like to start off at the bench. The new SANWA joysticks have arrived. So right here, this is one of the old Arcade1Up joysticks, and we do still need one piece of that. Just looking at the two right there, you can see they are pretty similar. The plate that's on top of the Arcade1Up one though is very slightly different in dimension and screw holes, so what we're going to need to do is take the plate off of this guy and attach it to the SANWA so that we don't have to drill any new holes. So I'm going to take these dust covers off of this one, and I'm going to find, I think I need my fat screwdriver for this, so let's take the plate off of the old one first. So it's just the 4 screws here at the top. And the other thing is Arcade1Up did glue these into place originally, so we're going to take some of that goop off we used a couple of videos ago. And we'll just remove that adhesive, clean it up a little bit. Not that it would cause any problems, but just to keep things looking nice and clean for the build. Alright, so we will take the plates, and the Arcade1Up joystick we can just set to the side. Yeah, these ones are a lot tougher. I think that SANWA used some kind of thread locker or something. Not really sure why they would do that. I guess most people probably aren't going to disassemble this part of it, but we actually will reuse these screws. They're a little bit shorter and a little bit tighter fit. So this plate will just come right off of here like that. And we want to take the old plate, we're going to attach it on top there, but like I said, we're going to clean it off a little bit first. Let me move these screws up here, and we will take our chemical. Don't need much of this stuff. Let it kind of permeate there, and then just start gently kind of brushing the surface of this. Most of it will come off with very little effort, but occasionally you do have to kind of give it some elbow grease. Alright, seems pretty good to me. I did do one of these already actually, so I'm going to go check which way I had the arrow pointing, just try to keep those consistent across all of them. If the arrow is north, we want the plug in the southwest corner, if that makes sense. And this is just for simplicity when we're lining up the screw holes and doing the wiring. It'll be easier if they all match. We want to make sure to get these all the way tightened too, so that they are flush with the surface here. They do have just a little bit of counter sunkenness. Alright, and just like that, we have the new plate, or the old plate on the new joystick. This one's all ready to go inside the machine. So, there you go. So to install this joystick, I have my handy dandy bag of joystick screws that we saved. I'm going to take the up arrow and face it towards the top of the control panel. Just stick it right down through the existing hole and kind of visually just look, make sure all our screw holes are lining up. It's kind of a tough spot to get into, but just gotta be patient. Take your time. What I'm gonna do real quick is just swap out the other two plates, get the other two joysticks attached just off camera here. So to continue my misadventures, I stripped one of the screws completely for one of the plates on the joysticks, so I had to go with the old plate, drill new holes, and then I accidentally must have drilled a little too far or something because I got a little bulge in the control panel. I was able to hammer back down. But what we're gonna be trying right now, I outlined in this deck protector where the cartridge slot needs to be cut, and I'm going to attempt to cut that out of the acrylic. And I've read so many things online, like cutting thin acrylic especially is so scary because it cracks easily, whatever. I'm gonna clamp it down to the actual control panel and just try to get in here and cut really slowly and gently. One more thing I probably should mention too, I bought a multi-purpose cutting bit for a Dremel. I don't have a Dremel, but I have a rotary tool. This will probably work great with mine, and it doesn't fit any of the things that I have. So we're gonna just try it like this with the drill. I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. Well, it's definitely working. It's very slow. Kind of what I was hoping by clamping it down to this is that I can use the wood a little bit as a guide. I don't want to chew up the edge of the control panel at all if I can help it. I mean, it definitely is working though. That's impressive. It's the first thing that's gone right all day. It's definitely working. It's going to require some sanding, some evening out of the line, but overall, not too bad. So now we're going to try a little sanding. We're gonna start at a really low speed. Just try to even this out. Got 240 grit on here, and a little bit of this will be covered by overhang anyway. So I'm not terribly worried about it, but as I've said this entire project, we want to do as good of a job as we can at the things we can control, because we can't control everything. This part's going pretty well. I think we did it. I'm kind of amazed that we got away with that. All right, we've got everything reassembled here, so I think with that, we are going to head back inside and try to test out our 3D printed part to see if it fits perfectly in this, and I'll show you what I mean. So we are on like version number 13 of this part, but the basic idea is I needed to design some kind of cartridge collar that would fit in the control deck, you know, approximately take the size of the Genesis cartridge, give it a direct travel path to go down to the Genesis, which will be mounted underneath. I mean, it started pretty simple. I just had to design, you know, what is the shape of the hole that I cut, and then what is the shape of a Genesis cartridge, and basically subtract that from this. And after that, I just kind of designed something for the top. It's just kind of a doubled shape of the front curved side of the Genesis cartridge, kind of rounded on the corner, or on the surface a little bit there. These are just draft versions, of course, so that you can still see the layer lines and everything. The final version will be painted and sanded and hopefully looking a little bit cleaner. I'm on version like 15 of this design by now, right? And here's one of the failed ones. This was 14, I think. Basically, the idea is it has these ridges so that when you push it down in, it will squeeze these two sides, and actually all four sides would squeeze in. Hopefully this version right here is the exact right size, but the first thing we have to do is liberate it from its support structure. So all these supports had to be added during the printing process to get everything to go in the right place. So this particular print takes about 3 hours each time, and every one of them I've had so far, the side tabs break off because they were too thin. So hopefully this is the one where we figured it out. I already feel that piece shifting in ways I don't maybe want it to. Yep, and there we go. It broke right off the side. As long as we can get these two longer sides to fit, I think we're probably okay. Nope, okay. Well, at least it broke in the same place on both sides. We got through it. So this is the finished piece-ish. Like I said, there should be a tab right there too to hold it in place, but these ones are, I think they're going to be strong enough and big enough that it shouldn't really matter that we don't have those other ones. Those were just kind of like, would be nice to have, but I want to get this in the control panel. Okay, so I have the part here. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, it is a tight fit, but version 15 works. I think with that, the control panel is pretty much done on the surface at least. Just to show you the view underneath to that tab that I designed in here, like less than 1 millimeter of tolerance. It clicked into place. This thing isn't going anywhere, but it is still removable. Just click it out and you can pull it right out with 2 hands. Obviously there's a few more things we'll need to do underneath, and at this point I'm kind of considering maybe swapping these buttons for these kind. I do have 4 extras, so I'm just not sure what I want to do with that yet, but everything is assembled. It just needs to be wired up, so I think we are at a good spot.